Ahoy! And welcome to the Boating Hour with Captain Rick. The Boating Hour brings you the latest and greatest essential information about everything that sails, floats, or motors upon the high seas of Southern California. From landlubbers to old salts, there'll be something for everyone. So climb aboard and get ready to sail with Captain Rick.
Ahoy out there, and welcome to the Boating Hour. I'm Captain Rick, and I want to thank you for joining us here on AM 870. We're here every Saturday at 4 p.m., and please be sure to visit us on the web at theboatinghour.com. And now on social media, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble, The Boating Hour with Captain Rick. And thanks to our sponsors for our show today. For a healthy gut, the best probiotic on the market, Livia One Probiotics. Natural, organic, and allergen-free. And Raycom radios, reliable two-way radio communications throughout Southern California. Raycom radios. And the founder of Raycom radios coming up on our show this summer in the near future. But today, we have a guest for you, a charter captain, Captain Mac Stiegel, a 100-ton master captain. Captain Mac, thanks for joining Captain Rick on the Boating Hour.
Ahoy, Captain Rick. Nice to be here and talk with you guys and your audience.
Tell me about being a 100-ton master captain. What does it take to be a 100-ton?
Well, a 100-ton master, that's a Coast Guard license. It takes 720 sea days plus a whole lot of testing. So you have to have navigation skills. You have to know all the rules of the road. That means all of the different buoys and light configurations on boats at night. You have to know how to tie knots, which is good to know. And then you have to find a boat to operate on. So that could be anything from one of those giant harbor cruise boats that you see in the Marina del Rey to a small boat, something for fewer passengers.
Let's talk about your boat. Let's talk about your website, your charter, and about. Okay. Let's tell some stories about taking guests out there. But let's talk about what's your boat? What kind of boat? And tell me the name of your boat, and then let's plug your website.
The boat I charter is my boat. It's a 40-foot classic wood sailboat. You can see pictures of it and information at my website, GoSailNow.com. That's GoSailNow.com. She's a 46-foot classic wooden ketch. That means it has two masts. And I take out families. I take out party people, groups of 6 people and fewer. I've been chartering since 2004. That's a long time now. And back then there was only about, 5 or 6 of us chartering in Marina del Rey. And we have a lot of fun. Do harbor cruises. We go out for a 2 or 3 hour sail, which is enough time to sail along the Venice Beach and past the Santa Monica Beach and Pier and to get up to where Malibu starts. Very scenic and fun. Maybe a lunch sails. Sometimes we go out for a sunset sail. Sometimes guys are proposing to their girlfriends on the boat, always successful. Sometimes it's anniversaries. Or just about any occasion. Sometimes it's just getting out in the sunshine to enjoy the wonderful Southern California climate.
Wow. Well, that's exciting. And your boat is amazing. I see you out there. It's one of the nicest boats in the marina. And, I know the story, so I want you to tell it. You restored this boat that I guess it was abandoned and it was destroyed, and you restored this boat. I can't believe how beautiful it is. So how'd you find this boat?
Well, yes, Rick, Captain Rick, it was a full restoration. I wanted a bigger boat than the one I had, and I found this boat languishing down in Newport Harbor on a mooring buoy, and nobody wanted the boat. As a matter of fact, I think the boat was going to get hauled out of the water and chopped up. So I spent 5 years from 1997 to 2002, and all it needed was everything. So that's not that bad, right? So I brought it up to Marina del Rey and removed all the plumbing and electrical and the engine and everything. The engine turned out it was shot. and spent 5 years varnishing and painting and redid every aspect of the boat, from the keel bolts to varnishing the tippy top of the mast. And, I finished in 5 years. I thought it would take 2. And so a year later, it was suggested to me to take people on boat rides. I said, wow, that sounds interesting. And I started taking people on those boat rides, gosailnow.com. And that's been a whole lot of fun, meeting people from all different walks of life. Sometimes people come from way inland. Sometimes, they've never seen the water. Sometimes people are coming from across the country, across the world even, and want to go for a sailboat ride. But the boat's all varnished in wood, so it has wood masts, and the masts are even varnished. And inside the boat, 14 coats of varnish. So if you want to, see what a real classic varnish, crazy varnish job looks like, that's what I am.
Well, it absolutely is beautiful. Well, I want to talk a little bit about the association, and you did a presentation in front of the Marina Del Rey Small Craft Harbor Commission a while ago, and I want to talk to tell us a little bit about this, I guess, relatively new charter association that's sprung up.
Yes. There's been, like as I was mentioning, in 2004. There was only 5 charter boats in the marina, small boats. I mean, not counting the fishing boats that take people out, the big boats. And now we estimate well over 200 charter boats in the marina, but some of them aren't legal. They don't have, meaning that they don't have Coast Guard licenses and all the credentials you're supposed to have if you're taking someone on a boat ride. And then there's a lot of us that have all the credentials but don't have a place to pick up their passengers legally. So what we did is in 2021, we formed a coalition, shall we say, a group of us to have the Charter Boat Operators of Marina Del Rey, California Association, a local voice for all of us charter boats, and so that we could form a group and then go to the county meetings and speak about our issues and concerns. And so anybody that has a captain's license is welcome to join our group. And that way we can go in and say, hey, we need more charter docks, more places to operate our legitimate businesses, it's constantly a struggle to find a place to pick up passengers. And if you go out in the marina, you'll see all kinds of crazy shenanigans out there. And a lot of the websites that people find those crazy boats on are offering boats that aren't legal. Well, you can. So it's kind of scary in that regard that there's so many unsafe boats offering boat rides to the public.
I didn't know there were that many charters in Marina Del Rey alone. I thought you were talking almost Southern California, but that's a lot. I've changed my mind back on. I used to think live and let live. Let people who are, recreational boaters take people out, help pay their slip, fix up their boat. Except I'm with the Coast Guard Auxiliary, and I follow the accidents and some of the terrible incidents that go on. And I've seen, irresponsible people. And of the incidences, I don't think I've seen a legitimate, licensed, properly trained, with a well-maintained boat, that does this for a living, ever have a problem. They're always a makeshift boat. The boat's not up to speed. We do vessel inspections for some of these boats because they want the Coast Guard vessel inspection sticker. And I'm surprised that some of these people, are chartering at all. So I've changed my mind. I like the regulations for the legitimate captains like yourself. So, I've changed my mind over the years because of the accidents that I've seen and some of the boats that shouldn't even be on the water. So that's a good thing that you guys are doing. If you ever do make a presentation or if the subject comes up, let me know. I'd like to sit in and listen to the Harbor Craft Commission meeting.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, there's one today, right now, Wednesday, as we speak.
Okay. So, I'll get to the next one.
But I decided it'd be better to come talk to you guys today. And I know what you're saying, and I agree with you on that regard. And the only thing is when people pay for a boat ride through some agency that's collecting boats that come to them and list on their websites, and then the unsuspecting public steps onto these boats, there's an expectation of safety and professionalism, and the companies and these apps that if one searches for a boat ride, you find these apps and you go there and there's a whole list of boats, and the people are hiding. They post a picture of a boat that's not even theirs, so that they don't know where the location really is. And they come on a boat. They don't know if they're expecting that there's all the best safety equipment, but more times than not, that's not the case. There's a guy advertising a rubber dinghy boat ride in the marina for $100. And it's pretty crazy. Jet skis, electric boats, overloaded. It's basically all the charter rules for carrying passengers are written in stone in Title 33 shipping in the Code of Federal Regulations. So that's CFR Title 33 shipping, and it delineates in writing what is the United States requirements if you're going to carry passengers on a boat. And those are because we have that, we don't have the big giant ferry boats flipping upside down and drowning all the passengers, like they do in some parts of the world. And so that's a good thing to have some oversight, especially in this day and age with all these, people offering boat rides. It's nice to know that if you get on a boat, it's going to have all the best safety equipment. And that's where the Coast Guard and Coast Guard Auxiliary should step in. But in Marina Del Rey, there is almost zero enforcement, or they're just not up here in Marina Del Rey looking to see who's legal and who's not.
Yeah, we've through the difficulty, Marina Del Rey is county. We're now county sheriff because we're an unincorporated city, and Marina Del Rey has budget problems, so you don't see the sheriffs like you used to, and I'd like to see them change that. We, of course, have a new supervisor, Holly Mitchell, so I know that she's got an office in the old Sea Scout base. So I hope that she starts becoming a boater and takes a lot more interest. That would be wonderful. I'd like to invite her on the show and talk about when they redistrict. Holly Mitchell became the new supervisor for the area that includes Marina Del Rey. So, yeah, I think that's somebody I'm going to try to invite on my show. That would be wonderful to see that the ups and downs and the problems she has. But I would like to see more budget for the sheriff, more patrol, bike patrol on land. So it's it. Were you out there July 4th? Because July 4th, every boat in Marina Del Rey goes out practically.
Oh boy, the 4th of July was a wonderful day. We sailed with a group up to Paradise Cove in Malibu and spent the whole day up there swimming around the boat and relaxing and had lunch. And then in the afternoon, pulled the anchor up and sailed back to the Marina Del Rey along the coastline, and just at 5 minutes to 9, dropped all the sails. There's a fireworks start at 9 o'clock sharp, and the fireworks display is just world class. The fireworks barge parks itself, or anchors itself. It anchors right off the UCLA Aquatic Center there, and there's just 1,000 boats milling around, and nobody bumps into each other. It was a calm night, clear night. And once again, the fireworks were spectacular. And I dressed my ship up, with all the code flags and giant American flag at the top, of course. And I got a lot of pictures and post them on my Instagram, which is Mariner Sailing Charters. If anybody wants to look on Instagram, see a bunch of pictures of my boat looking at the fireworks flags. It's on there at Mariner Sailing Charters. And everybody had a great time. I don't think there was any incidents that night, really. It was a beautiful evening. And everybody should come down and charter my boat on the 4th of July.
Well, I spent my morning up in Oxnard. I visited the Pacific Corinthians, and then the afternoon at the Westlake Yacht Club. And that was pretty wonderful. They had a regatta, and they had I ended up flipping burgers and dogs. I'm going to throw a picture of that on my website. That's where I spent my 4th this time around. So 4th is an exciting holiday.
In the Marina Del Rey, that's been a tradition of the Marina, the Marina Del Rey fireworks ever since I was a baby. And I was a little kid back in the 60s in the Marina Del Rey. And everybody always enjoys the 4th of July. And, well, nowadays people are a little more restrained because after the fireworks would stop, all the boaters would get out their flare guns and start shooting them in the air. Nobody does that anymore.
Well, thank God for that.
Yeah. Well, those flares, they go up and then they come down and they land on, hopefully in the water, but there's burning white phosphorus and it lands on someone's boat and melts a hole through their gel coat. Not good, not good.
So
parachute flares and so it's a wonderful holiday. I think it's my favorite holiday. You get to barbecue and you get to watch fireworks.
No, I absolutely enjoy all the holidays at the marinas, and it's such a festive area. Although in Marina, one of the reasons why I stayed in Westlake, because I know from previous experience that if you're going to be in Marina Del Rey, you get there before noon and you're not leaving till midnight. Once
that is correct.
Yeah, once you're in, you're stuck, and there's so many people. And I'm kind of, I wonder about the numbers because I've heard 25,000 people came out just to watch the fireworks. I've heard at the Christmas parade or July 4th that even more. I'm not even sure how they figure those numbers. Marina Del Rey has gone through a lot of changes, but I like what's going on. I like to see the upgrades, and I hope they continue. I just would like to see a bigger budget, and I'd like to see a lot more youth programs. Of course, I'm a member of a lot of the clubs, but I've been traveling. Have you traveling at all, Mac? But you can't you got to sail. I have a boat on.
I travel to Catalina Island.
Okay.
I travel to Catalina Island. I travel in the ocean. No, I'm a denizen of the sea. I'm not going anywhere. I stay around here and I sail.
I got a boat in a slip, but I got that little boat on the trailer when I go to different places, and that really is exciting to see the different marinas where I go to. So tell me about chartering. Have you done a lot of weddings? Tell me about the weddings. Have you had some funny stories? Anybody go overboard or anybody? How about weddings where people don't plan and they get seasick?
Well, I'll tell you what, I've only done a few weddings on the boat because I can only take 6 passengers. So that really hurts because people always want to bring everybody on a wedding. Now, a lot of marriage proposals, though, and I'll tell you one of the funniest stories. A guy on the boat, now this wasn't my boat, this was one of my associates. A guy came aboard the guy's boat to propose, and he brought with him, of course, the real engagement ring, but he also brought a fake ring. So what he did is he proposed, he got down on the knee on the front of the boat, and he brought out the fake ring, and then on purpose, he fumbled the ring into the water as he was proposing as a joke. And he thought that would be really funny. But the woman, she jumped in after the ring. She wasn't going to let that ring go. She'd been waiting for years probably. And it was wintertime and it was cold. And I asked the guy, I said, well, how did it go? What happened? He goes, it just wasn't good. Yeah. So,
oh my goodness,
that's one of the funniest stories I could imagine. And but it's all kinds of people proposing to each other on my boat, left and right. And that's always just the happiest day. I take a video from a distance, and they break out some champagne so they can celebrate. And what a wonderful time that is. And, people always ask me, what's the craziest thing that's ever happened on the boat? And I'll tell them, when people come on the boat, I think it has such a calming effect that people just behave themselves. I've been chartering for 20 years, and I don't really have any crazy, awful stories. Sometimes people get a little tipsy. You have to keep that under control. But it's always ended up good. No one gets hurt. And, have a fun sail. I grew up sailing in the Marina Del Rey as a kid. Took my first solo sail at 3 years old in a Sabbath. You can believe that. It's true. We have 8mm video to prove it.
Oh, my goodness.
And as a kid, I used to sail that little 8-foot sailing dinghy called a sabot, 8-foot sabot around the harbor, looking at all the boats and looking at the boat names, thinking, what would I name my boat if I ever got a boat? Well, all the names you think of as a kid, like Escape and Freedom, and, those are all so taken. But I named my boat Amethyst because I thought it was just a good name for an old wood boat. Amethyst is that purple crystal gemstone,
Yeah, well, your boat is
Amethyst,
beautiful. Your boat is absolutely beautiful. But talk about growing up in the marina, because I knew your parents, and they were the original members of the Windjammers Yacht Club. And, I ended up getting the Cal 20 that was your mom's.
That's right. When we were kids, my parents had a 28-foot sailboat that we sailed to Catalina about every weekend. We'd leave on a Friday night and get over there at 10 o'clock at night and wake up to have the whole day at Catalina and sail home. Our dock neighbors were all movie stars in the 60s and the 70s. Throughout the 70s, we had all the Joey Bishop, from the Rat Pack. We had Hal Holbrook, the Beverly Hillbillies guy. What was that guy's name?
Buddy Epstein. I've had a show on him. He was an active member of several of the clubs.
I had William Conrad, who was had the detective, all the 70s detective
Cannon
show called
Cannon.
Right?
Sure.
Robert Wagner and Natalie Wood were our dock neighbors as well. They had a big motor yacht called Splendor, which, as we all know, that
what a disaster!
That marriage ended in tragedy. That was horrible. But the Marina Del Rey, I don't know if there's any celebrities hardly in the marina anymore, but it was the golden age of Marina Del Rey, because the Marina Del Rey had just been constructed from the late 60s and into 1970. That was the shining gem of a marina that you would want to be at. So lots of restaurants around the harbor. Some of them are still there in one form or another. And a lot of people having fun experiencing a marina that wasn't a commercial harbor. It was for private boats, just the people to have boats. And for the regular folk, it was always supposed to be a marina just for the regular folk, unlike Newport Beach, where you had docks, a house and a dock, or L.A. Harbor, which is commercial with all that commercial shipping traffic, the container ships coming in and out, the Navy boats and all that to get nobody. So a very pleasant place to go day sailing. The way the wind blows in Marina Del Rey, it just blows right onto the beach, straight on. So you can sail right along the beach back and forth. That's a nice marina and has such a great future ahead of it.
So you've seen the changes over the years, as have I. And at one time, I'm not sure if it still is, the largest man-made recreational boating marina in the world. I'm not sure if it still holds that designation. Well, Mac, I want to thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. I got to have you keep me posted with press releases. Let me know if you're speaking in front of the commission, and if there's anything you'd like to plug and promote. So it's GoSailNow.com with Captain Mac.
That's it. That's how you find me. Type Go Sail Now, or just type my name, Mac, M-A-C-K, Captain Mac, Marina Del Rey. You'll find me, and I'd love to talk to you about sailing and the audience. Anybody likes to talk about boats, I'll go on for hours.
That's awesome. Well, that's all the time that we have for you today. I hope you enjoyed our show. As always, we're so very fortunate to have such wonderful and exciting guests. As always, here at the Boating Hour, we cover everything that sails, motors, and floats from San Diego to Santa Barbara. Thanks for being with us today, and please be sure to join us next week and every Saturday at 4 p.m. on AM 870. And let's not forget the Coasties, protecting our waters, America's lifesavers and guardians of the sea. And thanks to our sponsors for the show today. For a healthy gut, Livia One Probiotics and Raycom Radios, reliable two-way radios throughout Southern California without drop zones, dead batteries, and all the inherent limitations of all the other communication systems. Raycom Radios. Coming up next week, all kinds of exciting guests, actually, for the rest of the summer. Keep your emails coming. This is Captain Rick saying ahoy and fair winds to all.